Hey, hi, how you doing? You doing all right? Cool. Andy here with Nothing's Off the Table, and our guest for this episode is a man named Mike. We are going to purposefully leave his last name off. Mike is a detective for one of the local police departments in the St. Louis area, and he's going to talk to us about his cases and some of the things he's seen, and we're just gonna have a good old conversation here. So you guys know what to do by now. You should anyway, and if you don't, let me explain it to you. Get your blanket, get your drink, get your popcorn or snack, whatever you want to get, and kick back, relax, and listen to another wonderful podcast.
You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where nothing, well, almost nothing, is too taboo to discuss. On Nothing's Off the Table, we give everyone and everyone a say. We may not agree with or even like the topic, but we're happy to give you a voice, listen to your perspective, and maybe offer our own. Nothing's Off the Table is a MadSiss Productions podcast. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, and on iTunes.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Nothing's Off the Table. I'm your host, Andy, and today our guest is a special guest. His name's Mike, and he's special in more ways than one.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we'll leave the hockey helmet alone, but yeah, so what's unique about Mike? You're a lot of things. So, Mike, you are a detective?
That's correct.
In one of the local
municipalities.
Yeah, using big words on me already. Shit, here we go. We're not gonna say Mike's last name or where he works for obvious reasons. And if you can't figure it out, well, then I don't think I can help you anyway. But anyway, so how long have you been doing that?
19 years.
19 years.
I know, it's a long time.
Smokes.
Well, time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah. So I may ask some ignorant questions, but
sure.
That's because I'm ignorant. You already know that.
Yes, I do. Well, there's no wrong question.
No. You know, my philosophy is there's no such thing as a stupid question.
I couldn't agree more.
Just stupid people asking questions. So
I'd like to try that sometime in an interview.
I've said it and it hadn't gone over very well, but whatever. So you joined 19 years ago, and obviously you weren't a detective off the bat, right?
No, not at all.
You have to work to get there, I imagine. So what does it take?
Well, a lot of it is how you work on the road. You got to be able to not just go out there, write tickets, just write a report and that's it. Mm-hmm. You got to start developing some other skill sets. You got to start learning how to read people. You have to start looking beyond the scope of what you're working at. Whether it's just a basic accident scene, whether it's a domestic violence call, but you got to start looking at the bigger picture and what the scene has to offer and asking the right questions, learning how to work with people. If you go into the Hill Street Blues mentality of you're just going to beat someone with a telephone book to get a confession, you're going to fail. You really are.
You are dating yourself a little bit with the whole Hill Street Blues reference, though. I'm willing to go out on a limb here and say that probably 90% of the people that listen to this have no idea what Hill Street Blues is.
Probably not, but we'll say, how about some Law and Order?
There you go.
There we go. Yeah. We'll go Law and Order. How's that?
God, man. So you were a little bit older when you joined, though, or when you became a police officer.
Yeah.
Because you were a prior Marine.
That is correct.
0311?
0311.
Infantry,
yeah.
Hoorah.
That's right, hoorah.
Slave babies. What?
Slave babies, yeah, something like that. Graduated high school in May, and then June 15th, man, I was standing on the golden footprints out there at MCRD with my right hand up getting screamed at.
Paris Island or?
No, MCRD out in San Diego.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hollywood Marine.
That's right, I was.
Some would say, but, whatever, I don't care. Those well, you guys, I'm sure you went to Camp Pendleton for part of it.
Yeah. After completing boot camp, then at the time everybody there's 3 phases of boot camp. Then after that, everybody goes to MCT, Marine Combat Training, and then from there you go to your prospective MOS training after that.
Those hills of Pendleton are no joke, man.
No, that's they call that one hill up there Mount Motherfucker,
That's right.
and they call it that for a reason. It's the first time I ever humped up a hill with walking, and my knees were in my chest with an 85-pound pack. It was brutal.
Yeah, I went to Field Medical Service School out there. They call it FMTB now, which is a little bit different. But yeah, it was no joke. No joke. Our final hike was a 16-mile hike back to the schoolhouse in 21 area. But minimal gear, of course, because it's a school. But I was talking to this kid that just checked into the reserve center. Corman just finished. They call it FMTB now, and I think he said it's an 8-mile.
That's it
for their final. I'm like, really?
Yeah.
What the?
Do they carry their little feeling cards with them these days?
Apparently so.
Yeah. Well, I look at it this way, and I was always told by a crusty sergeant major, your feelings were not issued to you in boot camp, so you're not authorized to have feelings.
That's right. That's right. So I don't know if I ever told you the story or not, but excuse me, I had a company gunny when I was in Combat Assault Battalion, and he had the obligatory USMC tattoo on his forearm. And he was a tanker by trade.
Okay.
So he had to go to Army tank school. And he was a Lance Corporal. I think he said PFC or Lance Corporal when he went through. And he said the staff sergeant, Army staff sergeant, would fuck with him every day, about his tattoo, Either you signed the motherfucking contract, you suckers missed Christmas, Uncle Sam's got his, whatever. And so he said he got sick of it. And finally one day he told me, he said, you know what, staff sergeant, because, every good Marine will call a staff sergeant, whether they're Army or not. He said, you know what it really stands for? And he's like, what's that, Marine? He says, you suck my cock. He said, never bothered him ever since, Didn't mess with him, and that guy left him alone. But anyway, we talk Marine stories all day long.
We could.
However, let's shift gears a little bit.
All right.
So you were essentially a beat cop, I guess?
Yeah, essentially that's what it's called.
And then I'm sure there's no doubt in my mind that your time in the Marine Corps helped you out.
Absolutely. The leadership, the ability to follow through, attention to detail. I mean, those are all key factors that's just ingrained in your brain. So you're probably one of the rare police officers that can actually shoot. I would say yes. Yeah. I've met a lot that can't. Yeah. There's a lot of them out there that use this phrase still today, spray and pray. Yeah. I had a buddy of mine that was a cop. He was a high school, we went to high school together. Real good friend of mine. He was a cop in Baldwin for a while. Yeah. And, man, he couldn't. Love him to death, but he couldn't shoot for shit. Yeah, there's a lot of guys, you get finished doing a pistol qualification, and you want to ask them, like, did you just shoot double-aught buck, or did you shoot a pistol? What the hell is that? Right? That's too funny. So how long were you essentially a beat cop then? Well, I did a couple different things. I was a beat cop for about 10 years, then worked in the Fugitive Task Force team for a while, and which, I thought about it, what was the most exciting part of my career, being a beat cop. I did accident reconstruction for a while too. That was kind of interesting. Fugitive Task Force, or being a detective, and it kind of goes twofold. Being a Fugitive Task Force. I mean, all you're doing is you're just going out and finding people who got felony arrests and just hooking people up, and that was a lot of fun. Running around, kicking in doors, and then then to the second part of it is actually thinking about what you're doing a little bit more and how and everything kind of comes into play. So the Fugitive Task Force, is that kind of like a tactical unit per se? Or? No, we utilize the tactical operations guys. I mean, those guys are a breed all on their own. Mm-hmm. Their primary focus is to go in, breach doors, declare a scene safe, and then allow all the other investigators to go in. They are. I got nothing but great things to say about those guys. They get a lot of grief. They're the pillheads. They're always worried about working out and right. and that's it, and looking pretty. Yeah. But it takes a certain breed of person to do what they do. And we would essentially just develop a case file against a certain suspect. Where they're at, known locations, known informants. We talk to other informants, confidential informants, and just try to get a whereabouts on somebody. And after that, we just, create a plan, a strategic plan. And sometimes we had to use those guys because it was violent felons. Sometimes our felons are just paper. We call them paper felons,
Right.
fraud guys, stuff like that, But no, you just have to develop a game plan, and it's a lot of fun. And especially when you win.
Of course.
You get those handcuffs on, and that person's going to jail. It's pretty exhilarating feeling.
Nobody likes to lose.
Heck no, especially in our line of work.
Yeah. My daughter, I told her you were coming over today, and she said, actually, no, my son, it was Liam, said, does he have a gun? I said, well, yeah. Does he have handcuffs? I'm like, I'm sure he does.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, that's cool. I said, Daddy has a gun. Yeah, but I said, Daddy has handcuffs. Oh, you're not supposed to know that. Never mind. Shh. There were ones with the fur on them, but then, wait a minute.
Yeah, whoa. Yeah, ceasefire.
Anyway, so I kind of look at the TAC guys, and tell me if I'm right or wrong in my opinion or not. I look at the police, the regular guys like you, are kind of like the infantry guys.
Yeah.
And then TAC guys are like battalion recon.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, watching those guys in action is truly impressive, to say the least.
So that's all. That's something I would have liked to have done.
I'd like to say I would have done it, but I don't think so, because the time and effort and energy they put into their training, I mean, they're just not sitting back and just doing nothing and, waiting for that call to come out like you see on television. I mean, they're constantly are they hitting gym? Yeah, absolutely. Mm-hmm. Are they on the range constantly? Yeah, doing, tactical team movements, all different types of entries into different types of businesses in school buses, schools. I mean, because that's a big thing right now too. They're going all around the nation training, and it takes a lot of from their family as well.
Yeah, I just read, as a matter of fact, maybe 20 minutes ago, that another victim from the recent school shooting just committed suicide. Man. So, I don't want to get into politics. I don't want to get into any of that crap right now about gun control. Fuck it, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
I don't think it's a gun problem. I think it's a mental health issue, 100%, no matter how you... It doesn't matter what you do, what you say. It's a mental health issue. And I firmly believe, and I'm going to take a lot of shit over this, I know it, but they need to bring back mental health asylums. We didn't have these school shootings. We didn't have these mass shootings when we had asylums.
No. This has always been a big topic of conversation with all of us. We sit at roll call and we dissect this and what can we do better? What are we doing wrong? What are we doing 10, 15, 20 years compared to this day and age and what we're doing? And a lot of the general consensus from all the guys, it's one, the media.
Oh, sure.
The negative media. There is good media out there. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to say there isn't. There is good, but there is also the bloggers who just want to focus on all the negative. And if they can't make their story, that's the only way they can make the story. Let's just focus on the negative. Secondly, and I'll say till the day I die, these stupid video games. I'm telling you, these. Where is it where kids were running around and playing these days? I mean, now they're stuck between an iPad and an Xbox and everything else, and they're learning these movements and how to kill stuff and everything else. When I was a kid, I mean, we were running around playing, cops and robbers and all that other stuff.
Outside, sticks.
Yeah, and nowadays you do that, the cops get called on you. There's a man with a gun in the backyard. Now he's 12 with a BB gun. Yeah, but It's what these kids got access to these days, and they're taking that and they're training with it, and it's fun to them. To them, it's a video game.
Well, yeah, you can reset.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree. That's my kids have their tablets, which my aunt bought for them. The meaning behind it was great, and I love her to death. But man, I wish she wouldn't have bought them stupid things for because they're constantly into it. But we don't have gaming systems, and I am not going to get one, and they're just going to have to play outside and read. I'd rather have them read than be on those stupid tablets.
Yeah, come bother me. Let's go play ball or something.
Yeah, exactly. I was just in the woods yesterday around the house, and I was doing a little product review video for this bug netting I got for my hammock.
Yeah.
And I forgot how much I really enjoyed just being out there. It was so quiet, peaceful. But nowadays, man, you take a kid out there and they're like, well, where's my phone? Or this sucks. This is boring.
Yeah, can I go text my friends and let them know? Can I do a Snapchat real quick and show them where I'm at?
Right,
really?
Yeah. Let me, what do they say? Let me check in on Facebook.
Right.
Yeah. Screw all that crap. Anyway, you can't fix crazy. You can only medicate it. And that's the problem.
You're unfortunately correct, man. I mean, it's a tough world out there.
So people, from my perspective, being in the healthcare field for as long as I've been in it, if you have people on these medications, they're great. The problem is when they're on their own, they're too non-compliant with taking their own medication.
Yeah.
And that's when all these problems come in, especially the schizoid affective disorders, the schizophrenics, the straight psychotic individuals. If they're not taking their meds, that's where the problems come into play. And if they are institutionalized, and I know I'm going to take shit for it, but if they're institutionalized, then for certain that they're getting their medications and they're treated.
That's right.
Appropriately.
The too often or not, you hear a call go out across the radio that a guy's got to go to, domestic in progress or, whatever it may be. And there's history at the house because you got one person at the house that's emotionally disturbed or suffer from bipolar or whatever. Mm-hmm. But what a lot of people don't realize is cops these days, I say cops, should be police officers. I apologize, my brothers and sisters. But
so is cops derogatory?
Well, it's kind of a slang term,
Yeah.
Yeah, but, officers these days, they have to be a social worker. Mm-hmm. They have to be a tactical officer. They've got to be the parent.
Right.
They have to be a mental health specialist. Mm-hmm. And they have to do all those types of things at a moment's notice. They have to make the right decision. And it's really difficult for officers these days because society requires them to do those things. Now, are we willing to do those things? Heck, yeah, absolutely. Give us the training, please. Make us a better person,
right?
And make scenes safer, and we get a better end result. There's no officer out there that wants to go into a situation and say, I'm just going to go smoke someone today. No one wants to do that.
Right.
But, sometimes those situations do happen, and we do everything the best we possibly can.
So police officers have been getting a bad rap lately.
They have.
And again, I think it goes back to a lot of what you said, the media. There's bad apples out there, sure. It's the 10% rule.
Yes.
In every organization, anything that you do, 10% of the people that you have are just going to be off the rocker, unstable, just shitbags, whatever the case may be. Mm-hmm. You have in every community. Special warfare has it. Medical field has it. Police officers have it. Firefighters have it. Unfortunately, in this day and age, where everything is on a freaking cell phone video, I don't know. Maybe it's unfortunate. Maybe it's fortunate.
I would actually, I would say it's more unfortunate. Because like for example, back during the Mike Brown protests, up in Ferguson, the one thing that there was two types of people that were up there. There were protesters, and then there was rioters.
Right.
And a lot of the media tried to focus more on the rioters, and label them as protesters. What the media didn't show or didn't, make national news was those organizations that were coming up to us and saying, hey, we like to exercise our right to protest. Do you have an area that we can do it? Yeah, absolutely. We got a designated area right over here. Feel free. Go ahead and do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Hey, would you make sure that no one bothers us and no one gets into our lines because we have a point that we want to make. And that's what happened. A lot of those rioters would infiltrate some of those legitimate protesters, exercise their constitutional rights. God love them, and they wanted to make a statement made. But they would get in there and in bed with them, and put a bad light on those legitimate people that were trying to protest. And when they're coming to the police and asking for security so they can have their right to free speech, where was that?
Right. Well, the media has an agenda.
I couldn't agree more.
So they're going to spin it however they want to spin it to meet that agenda. But so were you involved in that at all? I mean, because it was like I
think everybody's involved in that in one way, shape, or form.
Right.
I mean, from day one, from the first day the first shot went off all the way until the anniversary. I don't think there's an officer in the area that was not involved in that situation in one way, shape, or form.
That's kind of what I figured. Now, I was in Japan when it all happened, but followed it as closely as I could, being hometown area news and whatnot, and I don't even want to get into that. Anyway, so geez, man,
that's a whole other conversation.
God, man, isn't it though? So you did the beat thing. You did the whole what did you call it again?
The accident reconstruction.
Accident reconstruction.
Yeah, that was kind of fun.
Yeah, that seemed to me like a highway patrol function.
Well, it can be.
I got a buddy that was a highway patrol officer in Oklahoma, and that's a lot of what he did.
A lot of those guys, they've got a lot of responsibilities too. I mean, not every state trooper is an accident reconstructionist, and a lot of those troopers, sometimes they are the local police departments too, in smaller areas that don't have police support. But in this area, if you got someone that's capable, a team that's capable of doing accident reconstruction, they're going to do it. State troopers won't do it on county roads or municipal roads. So you have to rely, agencies got to train their own people to be able to do those things. And
it's more densely populated here. So of course there's a lot more accidents.
Sure.
And geez, man, I tell you what, I thought Norfolk was bad. God, man, these guys can't drive around here.
It's challenging.
Anyway,
so yeah, I did accident reconstruction for a while, and then after that went back to the road and wanted to put the suit on. I was ready for that next step. I felt that I was ready for it. I wanted the challenge, so opportunity presented itself and submitted it, and luckily I got selected.
So did you have to take a test? Is there a test associated with that, or is it just you?
It depends on some agencies. They have you test for it. Some agencies will have you do an oral board. Luckily in my situation, I submitted a resume with.
Your oral skills were good enough?
I guess they were. So, yeah.
I had to say something.
Yeah, that's okay. I guess they were good enough for me to get the job.
I'm going to burn in hell. Anyway.
But, no, I did that. And one great thing that the St. Louis metropolitan area has, and I say metropolitan because it also stems over in Illinois, is we have an organization called the Major Case Squad. And the Major Case Squad, essentially, a lot of people see it on news. They're not really sure what the heck it is. And what it does is it provides a jurisdiction if they have a homicide and they don't have the manpower resources available to investigate it, or if it's a situation where it's like, gosh, we have absolutely no idea what the heck is going to happen. We don't know what happened. We have no idea how long this body's been here, what happened. An agency can request the assistance of Major Case Squad. And what they do is they contact anywhere from 15 to 20 detectives from around the local area, bring them in for 5 days, and their sole purpose is to work that homicide.
Wait a minute. You're telling me right now that you don't solve that case in 50 minutes?
No, first 48 we do.
Oh, Roger.
Yeah,
okay.
We do 48.
I'm tracking. All right. Man, it was on TV. I figured it was true.
Well, everything, if it's on the internet, it's true.
Exactly. Abraham Lincoln said that.
That's right. Because Al Gore invented it.
Yeah. The internet. Oh, God.
So that organization, it's pretty impressive to work with that many guys, and I was able to be a member of the Major Case Squad and work a few homicides in the area. So, because we say Greater St. Louis because a lot of stuff goes from Missouri to Illinois.
Sure.
So it goes back and forth.
So why don't you, or can you? I don't know if you can or not. Can you talk to us about some of those homicide cases that you worked?
Well,
protecting names and specific.
Well, I could talk about a couple of them. Cases that are still pending in litigation in court that are no final disposition.
Sure.
Unfortunately, just can't talk about stuff like that.
But, that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, let's see. There was one in particular in a North County municipality that it was a bar fight. Usually we're going to houses and stuff.
Right.
But this was a bar fight, and this particular bar fight, this one guy just ended up just getting shot and killed. It's just a robbery gone wrong. And so we, of course, everybody's going in, canvassing, talking to everybody and stuff like that. And we, it's amazing how some of these cases, how they get twisted and turned, and the directions that they go. It goes anywhere from, well, the guy was a drug dealer to the guy was a pimp to he was just mad at the world,
Pimp daddy.
Yeah. So we worked that case. Unfortunately, we didn't solve it. Another agency ended up solving it about a year later.
Wow, a whole year.
Yeah, a whole year later. Ended up finding the bad guys. Still had some of the same hoods and stuff like that, that they were wearing. But
holy smokes.
It's interesting. And a lot of it we can't do without the public support as well.
Sure.
They do call in a lot of leads and stuff like that. So that wasn't one of those glorious ones, but there was another one. We actually had a triple homicide, and it's 3 guys that were just gunned down 10 o'clock in the middle of the day during the week, right in the middle of a subdivision. And we found out that there was a whole bunch of people that were hanging out in their front porch and stuff. So it's kind of rare that you have 3 people shot down right in the middle of a street. And so we start going and knocking on doors and talking to people, and no one saw anything. And that in itself is kind of frustrating because we try to talk to people like, do you like this stuff going on literally in your front door? We're not here to to kick in your door and lock you up, run you for warrants and stuff like that. We actually want to take some of the bad guys, off the streets. But that one ended up get solved by, we call it street justice.
Wow.
It was not solved in the court system.
Excellent.
It was solved on the streets. We found out about that, a couple weeks later.
Well, you got to thin the herd every now and then.
You know what? Circle of life. Mm-hmm. That's what we call it, brother.
I'm not necessarily opposed to that as long as none of the innocent parties are affected.
Yeah.
But
those. And you talk about the street justice too. It's one thing. It's kind of an unwritten rule, and then we found out from working other cases that anytime anybody can handle it. Anybody can see a dead body, mangled, cut up, shot, all that stuff. No big deal.
Right.
But when it involves a kid,
I knew you were going there. Damn it!
I tell you what, man, the gloves come off. The respect for each other goes right out the brotherhood goes right out the window, and anybody, they won't come to you, but if you go to them and ask the right questions, they will tell you. They give up their own brother, own mother when it comes to kids, man. That's
how it is working in the emergency room too. I can handle. Any adults coming in, you could have the most nasty trauma, whatever, and it doesn't bother me. But when you bring in a sick kid, it's the worst. Absolutely.
Yeah, they're just so innocent. They can't take care of themselves.
Yeah, and they haven't had a chance to live. I think that's the biggest thing. But anyway, so what is the I don't know. Let's see. What is the wildest thing you've dealt with?
The wildest thing I've ever dealt with, man. That's a good question.
I'm sure you've seen a bunch of shit.
You know what? And I have. And, I was thinking about this last night, and I'm like, man, what can we talk about? I'm going back and just thinking about some old case files. A lot of stuff you can try to forget.
Oh, yeah, I imagine so.
You really do.
You compartmentalize and...
Yeah, I mean, it's because it's stuff that you don't want to bring home to your family because, you got to try to shut that light switch off, and especially a lot of those operators are out there, too. I mean, they understand what I'm saying. You got to shut that light switch off because when you go home, you got to be human again, I would probably have to say pursuits, brother.
Yeah?
I freaking love pursuits.
They get your blood going.
They do, man. They get you going. You get to do stuff that you've never done before, but now you just can't do that stuff anymore.
That's awesome.
Now we got lawsuits.
Yeah. Cameras.
Cameras and lawsuits and helicopters and everything else, And everybody wants to sue someone for hurting someone else.
Of course.
But, yeah, driving around with, your hair on fire and that guy jumps off and takes off running out of the car and you get to go after him, man, nothing is better. Nothing's better.
That's awesome. Yeah. I wanted to do canine work for a long time.
Yeah.
So I got out of the Navy for like literally 4 months.
Okay.
That was it. And I came back here and I bounced around job to job and I couldn't find that satisfaction, right?
Right.
And then a good buddy of mine flew out here and talked me back into coming back in the Navy because they just started this recon pipeline for corpsmen, and he was a reconnaissance corpsman. Mm-hmm. So I did join the Navy, but before I joined, I'd put in an application with county police.
Okay.
And I never heard anything from them. And then like a month, maybe two after I had left, and they had already called and talked to my dad, and they said, yeah, Lum, we want you to come in and interview, and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, well, you're a day late and $1 short. He's already gone.
Yeah.
But
well, we're glad. I mean, the world's glad to have you there.
Yeah, well, who knows what could have happened.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's I had a boss one time that told me, because no one ever tells you about being a detective, mm-hmm. because the number one thing that you really learn to do is be a good secretary. I have honed in my typing skills like you wouldn't believe, and they don't show that stuff on television.
Yeah, of course not.
No,
it's not good TV.
No, it's not. It's not all that fun. But we've worked cases before where it's a lot of it's some dumb luck. Mm-hmm. Most of it's attention to detail. You can get a case thrown out in an instant if you don't process evidence the right way, if you don't, have the right descriptions in a search warrant, if you're going after a house to see some evidence or a location. I mean, that's what we have defense attorneys out there to do, is to defend, bad guys and find mistakes that we're making. And
it's all technicalities.
It is, and you got to really be careful with what you're doing. All of us do.
Yeah.
And like there was a case that I worked. We had a guy, and he was going around dressing up as a maintenance worker, some kind of utility worker. I can't remember. It's been a couple years. Mm-hmm. Dressed up as a utility worker, and he was targeting old people. Again, that's that classification that society just does not tolerate. And he's going in to these people's houses, nicely dressed, talks nice, very professional. Mm-hmm. He's going in these houses, and he would say, "Hey, I'm here to test your water. Can we go into your kitchen sink?" Sure, no problem. And of course everybody does, because they're, sweet grandmas that are out there. Oh, sure, young man, come on in. So he goes in, and it will always tell him, hey, so there's potential corrosive material inside your water. So do me a favor and take off all your jewelry. Anything you got metal in your hands, take it off, put it over there in the counter on a rag. So they do. And he hands him this green light, mm-hmm. and tells him, I'm going to go look under. You turn the water on, I'm going to look underneath the sink and make sure that there's nothing leaking. When I tell you to shine that green light inside that water and see what happens. So, of course, they do. And as soon as he goes down, they turn the water on, he shines that light in there, bam, shoots him straight in the face with pepper spray. And incapacitates them. He takes their jewelry off the counter, and then after that, he goes through the whole house, cleans it out, and then takes off. Well, we had, I want to say 4 or 5 situations where that happened all around the area, mm-hmm. No one single jurisdiction. And they weren't happening one after another. They're kind of spread out. And, got together with all the other guys that were working those cases, and we're just trying to find some type of commonality between all of them, trying to back it up. We interviewed the old ladies and said, where do you go? I mean, where's your doctor's office at? Trying to get down their entire routine and then go back, look at surveillance video, all that stuff. Well, a lot of the stuff that we do, you have to constantly watch common threads from other crimes that are going on, not just in your local area, but mm-hmm. all around the United States.
Right. That makes sense, yeah.
Come to find out that there's an actual organization that specializes in elder abuse and gypsies, Gypsy Burglars. So out of clear blue, we get a call from a guy from somewhere up north. I can't remember if it was Minnesota, Wisconsin, or something like that. It almost sounded
like a meal. Gypsy Burger.
Gypsy Burger, yeah. So this guy calls us up, and he's like, hey, man. He goes, I know who your guy is. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. He goes, no, man. He goes, I've locked up their family for traveling all around from Florida. He's got warrants everywhere for doing the same stuff. And sure enough, I mean, he goes over, interviews him, got a picture of a tattoo off of this guy's forearm. We went back to the grocery stores where these ladies came from. Not that one, different one.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, different
Just
one.
checking.
And, we got them on surveillance video, following these little old ladies all throughout these stores. And, yeah, I mean, piece of crap, and a lot of this jewelry, I mean, it's sentimental, it means a lot to these people. So long story short, we end up getting him extradited back down here to St. Louis. He, did time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Is he still doing time or?
I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows?
Probably not.
I'm sure you don't have a lot of follow up, with any of that crap.
The special ones we do. The ones that the ones that actually hit home. And you put a lot of time into. You follow them. You look through the system to the court systems and find out where the cases are at. What those idiots are doing. I've got one that I actually follow, and the girl, she's the suspect. She's actually out of prison now, but found her on Facebook, and she's changed her life around.
Really?
Yeah, she actually got married. She's got a couple kids, doing well, and so I don't know. I guess there's that diamond in the rough there.
I guess you can't really call her a suspect anymore if she's been convicted.
True. Yeah.
So,
she was a suspect.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think you were telling me that you've worked kidnappings as well.
Yeah. I've worked kidnappings, murders, rapes. Yeah, we.
So you've done a little bit of everything then.
Yeah, I mean, white collar crime. Yeah, I've done a little bit of everything. Worked with the feds on a couple cases, which is it's always interesting to do. What
case has affected you the most?
Ooh, boy, that one's tough. I would say it wasn't a crime.
Okay.
So back in, I would say, mid-2000s. I think that's about when it was. Actually, you know what? There's two. Two, in fact. One of them I tried to forget. But anyway, I guess you just kind of opened up that little box on the shelf.
That's what I do.
But back, it kind of date myself a little bit, back when the Enron stock crashed.
Oh, wow. Yeah, you are old.
Yeah, I am old. Yeah. There was a situation where just found a car or pickup truck sitting in a park one day. And it was 3 o'clock in the morning, I guess it was. And there's guys sitting in there. Committed suicide. And my sergeant at the time said, hey, have you ever done a death notification before? I'm like, no, never done one. I just don't we need to call somebody else for something? You call one of the detectives or call someone more important. I don't think I could do something like that. And he goes, well, you got to do it somehow. You got to do it sometime. So he'd been around for a while, told me what to say, what not to say, things to stay away from. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'm going to do this. I got to do it. So I went over to this house and knocked on this door. By the time it was like 7 o'clock in the morning, knocked on the door. And through the side window, I saw this little kid sitting there just coloring. And he was drawing a picture of his family vacation. It was just a mom and her kid. And then knocked on the door. And, she came to the door and said, yeah, can I help you? And unfortunately, I had to go in and sit her down and tell her that her husband committed suicide. And she's like, no, he's in the spare bedroom. He was up all night, and he was a stockbroker. Well, he lost his business, he had lost everything in that stock, and just couldn't deal with it, So
she thought he was in the spare bedroom.
She thought he was home.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, she had no idea he was gone. But the one thing I remember is knocking on the door and seeing that little kid drawing that family photograph. And that's, that it just drives something home. That, you just, in a blink of an eye, your world just gets totally changed upside down. You thought you were living in a perfect world. The other one, February 7, 2008. I had a good friend of mine that just a couple weeks prior to that, former Marine as well, Devil Dog. And we were teaching in-service training to other officers, refresher for active shooter training. And this guy, his name's Tom Ballman, he you never saw him without a smile on his face. Making jokes all the time. Just an amazing guy. I mean, he was truly a cop's cop, and he was truly a Marine's Marine, literally. And 7 p.m., February 7, 2008, it's a day I'll never get out of my head. call came across dispatch for shots fired, multiple victims are down, and it wasn't in our jurisdiction. They were sending everybody from the whole St. Louis area and sending everybody to Kirkwood City Hall. And it was actually a situation where a disgruntled resident went in on a killing spree and shot and killed 2 police officers and
Holy
killed some
smokes,
members
man.
of the city council because he was mad. And Tom was one of those guys that unfortunately lost his life. And I remember not sleeping for 2 days.
Yeah.
And that was the first time I'd ever been in a situation where I knew the person that got killed, and especially when they're wearing the uniform.
Right.
It's literally the cloth of the nation.
Yeah, that's tough, man. I've lost way too many service members, corpsmen that have been close to me, and it's never ever gets easy, ever.
No.
So I'm sorry for your loss, and I know how that affects you because I know how it affects me.
Yeah, absolutely.
But my next question is, funniest case you've ever worked?
Oh my gosh, funniest case I've ever worked.
Because there's tons of videos on YouTube for stupid criminals.
There is. So I would say 1 year we were doing DWI enforcement, and we stopped a car. It was during New Year's Eve night.
Shocking.
I know. Well, nowadays everybody's got Uber, so no one drives drunk anymore. But we were driving around, just stopping everything that just does any kind of traffic violation whatsoever, and checking for field sobriety. So this guy gets stopped, and they're out there doing field sobriety, and just trying to understand the concept, because this guy was like 5 foot tall and uglier than sin.
So it could have been my brother.
Maybe. Is he rich?
No.
Because the gal that he was with was like a 6'2" Swedish model.
Wow.
That just walked out of like Vogue. Just kind of scratching your head and thinking about, like, this guy must be like a sultan or something. I mean,
either rich or they call him tripod.
Tripod? Yeah, he could have been. So this guy, he was swore up and down, man, I'm not drunk. He goes, look, I'll even start doing jumping jacks. I'm like, no, don't do that. Don't do jumping jacks. And, sure shit, this guy sits there and starts doing jumping jacks right in the middle of the highway, and the people are stopping, honking horns.
He was shithouse drunk.
Man, he was trash. He was going to do everything he could to go home with that girl that night. He tried everything he could, but yeah, he failed epically.
That's hilarious, man.
So
let me ask you, as a police officer, how do you personally feel about the legalization of the medical marijuana in Missouri?
I think by not doing it, we're fighting a losing battle.
Okay.
I think, from working in situations where, trying to stop people under influence of controlled substances, trying to deal with people that are in different mental statuses on basic calls, it's eventually going to happen. It's just a matter of when.
Sure.
In my personal preference, this is just me, but I don't think marijuana is any worse or worse than alcohol. There are actual professional, positive, medically documented situations where marijuana is beneficial. It's how it's administered, how it's being used.
Right.
Is what it boils down to. Tax the crap out of it, man.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. Get the money. Regulate it.
Why not? Regulate it. People are making money off of it. I mean, in a good way.
Sure.
They're opening dispensaries, etc. Plus, it gets some of these major corporations out there that just develop all this synthetic drugs and pills and stuff, you know, put them out of business.
Well, I think too that you will see a reduction in crime because of it, you know, and not to mention the fact that the overpopulation of the prison system right now for petty things, and I'll say petty, for marijuana.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, let's lock up the knuckleheads that are truly doing the horrendous and heinous crimes.
Yeah, the violent criminals. I mean, the people that are, and I say violent criminals, I mean physically violent, and those individuals that are going out there jumping on a computer and draining people's entire incomes and retirements. I mean,
Fuck those guys.
Yeah, I mean, people work hard for their money, but you know, if you're going to arrest someone for 100 pounds of weed and put them in prison for distribution, what's, you know, I mean, what 100 pounds of alcohol?
Right. You know, and obviously from studies, alcohol is much more damaging to the body than marijuana is.
Yeah.
Now, I'm all for the medical marijuana if you take out the psychoactive component, the THC, and you just use the CBDs, because there's a lot of medical benefits to that. And truth be told, I don't even care if you want to go smoke a fatty. You know, I don't look at somebody and judge them because they're drinking a 40 or whatever, or getting lit. Basically, I do what you want to do in your own home, as long as it's not hurting anybody.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, what you do in the confines of your four walls, you pay your hard-earned taxes for, go right ahead. Yeah. You know, what I do inside my home is my choice, as long as it doesn't, you know, commit the cardinal rules of sin. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, so, yeah, I just wanted that from a law enforcement perspective. So, pretty much right where I thought you would be.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are in the same boat, but you know, again, like you brought up earlier, we got to get in that whole big P word of politics.
Yeah, and political correctness and social warriors, and oh my God,
yes,
freaking kill me. So, how much longer do you think you've got in you as a police officer?
You know, a lot of it depends on what's going to change in the St. Louis area. You know, there's a hot topic that's on the button right now, and that is the Better Together program.
I'm not familiar with that.
So the Better Together program, what they're wanting to do is there's an organization, a group, and they're wanting to consolidate municipal services.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, between St. Louis City and St. Louis County.
Right.
And in doing so, you're going to consolidate police departments. You're going to consolidate public works departments. And I'm kind of curious to see how they're going to start consolidating, you know, municipal fire departments as well. I mean, there's a lot of firefighters out there that I don't know how that's going to affect them.
Isn't there talk also of having other municipalities across the state have a say in the
entire state of Missouri is going to go to a vote. So the people that live in Republic, Missouri, or Moberly, Missouri, or Kansas City, Missouri, are going to be able to determine what's going to happen with our livelihoods here in St. Louis County and St. Louis City.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that.
No, and if it does go through, you're going to see a lot of police officers that are going to lose their jobs. So I don't understand the whole. I'm not really sure what the major political agenda. You know, I got assumptions. Try to do my own Google research on it as well.
Right.
But I don't understand why. You know, if someone lives in a municipality and they enjoy the services that they get, they're using their money to pay for that service. They want to pay for that.
That's it right there. That's everything. It's money.
Sure.
It always comes down to money.
St. Louis City's got a ton of debt. Is it, if I live in St. Louis County, is it my fault that St. Louis City's got inept people that can't manage their own budgets?
Not at all.
Why do I have to pay for that stuff?
Exactly.
You know, there's a St. Louis City earnings tax out. So if you live in, let's say, Jefferson County, 2 counties away, but you work in St. Louis City, you pay a 1% earnings tax because you work in the city.
That's ridiculous.
You know, it's absurd. So is it my fault that people can't, manage their budgets? Nope.
That's right.
So, so to answer your question, I don't know how much longer I got. Depending on the outcome of this, depending on retirements, stuff like that, it could be a year, it could be 10 years, man.
Jesus.
Don't know.
It's not a good way to live.
No, it's tough. It is tough. But, the one thing I will say is, this community as a whole has started to show a lot more support, for the brothers and sisters in blue. So it's, unfortunately, there's been a lot of good officers that have gone down as a result of that. But, I'd say there's more positive than negative. You get your remote negative people out there. But, for the most part, it's positive.
That's good to hear because the media paints a different picture.
Of course,
social media paints a different picture. I get tired of getting on Facebook and, fuck the police and this and that. And you know what, dude? Walk a mile in their shoes.
Yeah.
Or how about, I don't know, just fucking stop doing crimes.
That's the other thing. Hey, put us out of business.
Yeah.
Just do the right thing. If some people out there would spend half their effort and energy into doing the right thing than they do giving all their effort and energy doing the wrong thing, this place would be totally different, brother.
They'd be rock stars.
Oh, it'd be great.
Yeah.
Put me out of business. I'd have to, I don't know, cut grass or something for a living.
You'd be happy to find another job.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. That's kind of funny. When I retire, I always joke my wife. I tell her, I want to be that guy on the highway median that cuts grass.
That's not a bad gig.
No responsibility, no pressure. If it's raining, well, I guess you just ain't working that day.
That's true. I would love to go work at Bass Pro Shop, man.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I go one side store. I could touch guns. I go to the other side. I could look at fishing poles and camping stuff.
Right.
They got the best of both worlds.
Yeah, that's not a bad gig.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun.
If I need to get a side job when I retire, just if I need a little extra cash, if my business isn't quite where I want it to be yet, then Bass Pro Shop, Lowe's, somewhere like that where I get that discount. And,
heck yeah.
Yeah.
I'd take full advantage of that.
Hell yeah. But,
go work at a shooting range. You never know.
Yeah.
That'd be fun too.
So, you have a very interesting story.
Got a couple
that I really want to hear. I'm really curious about this one.
One kind of gets narrowed down. So it was a weekend, and partner and I, we get a call and said, "Hey, boss is like, I need you guys to come in. We got a situation."
That's never good.
That's never good. Say, we got a situation. Like, all right, fine. I'll just wait till I get in. So. This next door neighbor calls and says, "Hey, I got this half naked woman, like 6 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday morning, standing in my back door, and she's been kidnapped." We're like, it's not every day you go out to get your newspaper and something like that happens.
Right.
Unfortunately, that's not a funny part of the story. But so long story short, we all know there's retarded, crazy people out there.
Of course.
So we had we had these two people. They told us what was going on. So this girl gets kidnapped. She's found through Backpage. Okay,
what is Backpage?
It's an illegal website, internet ring where they're
like a Craigslist for criminals.
Yeah, it's beyond that. I mean, it's like where the creepy crawly people, trade porn and kitty stuff and prostitution, all that stuff. Okay, so this girl is located. She's from another state, and these two individuals here, a male and a half a female. Okay, I know. I can't really make this stuff up. So it's a transgender.
Dare I ask which half?
It's from the top half up. It's a female. So they decide that they want to create their own family. So the guy, I don't know, the other person. Okay. They want to be husband and wife. Okay. But they want to have kids, and they want to bring kids into their little wonderful family. Okay. They want to share their kids and the joys of their kids. So they find this girl and end up coercing her down to this area and want to make her part of their family. So they get her down. She thinks she's coming down to get her computer work done.
Now, is this a girl or a young lady?
This was a young lady.
Okay, so over
20s,
an adult.
She's 20s.
Okay,
yeah. Early 20s.
All right.
So she comes down and she thinks she's getting her computer worked on. That's the thread that threw out the advertise to bring her back. So bring her down. She comes down and they just lock her up and just say, this is what's going to happen to you. If you don't like it, you're going to die. That's her option. So they bring this girl in. They record the guy raping her.
Oh.
And they kept it. Well, so go to the crime scene, start processing with like bodysuits, man, because it was just absolutely disgusting. And interviewing the one of the suspects, and my partner grabs this pitcher, like a water pitcher, and then grabs this towel and wasn't really sure if he wanted to pick the towel up.
Right.
Yeah. So
Could have been a happy
picks the
guy.
towel up and he just kind of pushes it inside of this, evidence bag, and we take it back. And so, we're talking back and forth, and I'm thinking, I don't even know if I really want to know or ask why you have these two objects inside the bedroom where this, heinous crime's occurring. So partner just flat out just asked, like, hey, by the way, so we found this picture in this towel sitting there, and is there, what was that about? He goes, and the person's like, oh, I forgot to tell you about that. So what we were doing is we threatened to waterboard her if she didn't comply with what we're doing.
Oh my God.
And the face that I have right now is the same face that I have when we got that response and reaction. These idiots literally decided that they were going to create this this little perfect village of people, and they believed in it.
Jesus.
That was the thing, and when you try to interview somebody like that, you can't go in this day and age and just, make people talk. You've got to try to get inside their head a little bit and let them think that what they're doing is okay.
Well, that's the problem, because they live in such an alternate reality.
They do.
That it's how does someone like you, who is a sane person, try to go in there and decipher that? It's almost impossible, because it's a whole. Holy shit, man! It goes back to that whole mental health thing that we were talking about earlier.
I would like to say that anybody could do it, but I guess I am a little messed up in the head.
True,
a little bit.
True story.
You know that for a fact, but you have to tell yourself, how am I going to clear this case? And unfortunately, that's what you have to do. You have to let these people think that it's okay for what they're doing, and in order to get the buy-in, so they will start talking. After that, they start bragging because they're proud of it.
Oh, sure.
Granted, I got caught, but let me tell you what I did.
Fucking nut jobs, man.
Luckily, the judge threw the book at both of them. They are locked up for a long time, and
good.
The only problem that they're going to have is once they're done, all the child pornography that we found on their computers, and so now they get to face federal prosecution after that. And I guess the apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because we were talking to one of the family members of the person who was a transgender, and that family member just kept saying, well, what's such and such going to do? They have to have their medicine, they have to have their hormones. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Do you understand what your kid just did?
Yeah, you don't get it.
So this person just said that, hey, I'd like to go ahead and get federal charges. I'm thinking, well, why do you want federal charges? Well, I found out that in federal prison, you can have surgery.
Oh, God.
You can have gender-altering surgery.
Taxpayers' dollars once again.
So I want to go to federal prison. I'm like, well, one step at a time. We'll get you there, I promise. But let's get past this stage first, the whole kidnapping and rape thing. Then we'll get to the child porn stuff. And you know what? I will do everything I possibly can to help you achieve your goal.
That's
serving the rest of your life
man.
in federal prison, but you are going to get a penis out of it.
That's ridiculous, man. Holy shit. Hey, let me ask you.
Yeah.
Do you know of any undercover either actively or formally individuals that would like to come on and do the show? You don't necessarily have to answer.
You know what?
Now,
I do have one. I've got a good friend of mine that he worked for he was an officer, and then also worked for one of the alphabet soup agencies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he did some interesting things. Well, out of what I wouldn't want to steal any limelight or
sure,
take away from there. But yeah, I could talk to my buddy.
Yeah, reach out.
Absolutely,
that'd be great. I'm sure the listeners would really enjoy hearing something like that.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah.
Formal devil dog, of course.
Yet.
Hey,
of course.
Yeah. Hey, we're a breed all on their own.
That's
trust
right.
me.
All right, brother. Well, I think we should probably wrap this up.
Sounds good.
You, I'm sure, have a lot to do today.
It's springtime. It's honeydew season, brother.
Yeah, of course. I know the feeling. But
yes.
Shh. Okay. We don't say that.
No.
But hey, I appreciate you coming on the show.
My pleasure.
We'll get you back sometime, man.
Love to.
Come on, we get Chad back. Chad's my co-host who couldn't make this show today, but he's a funny bastard as well. But
yeah, I'd like to meet him sometime. And yeah, hey, if the fans would like to, I'd be more than happy to, pop back on and chat for a minute.
Yeah, and if hey, listen, anybody out there has any specific questions, if you want to get them to me, I will make sure that I get them to Mike. Go to our Facebook page. You can find us on our YouTube page, and you can also find us on our WordPress page, and we'll put links in and everything. But hey, thanks again, brother. I appreciate it. And guys, listen, we are glad to have you back and glad to be back once again, and we'll talk to you soon. Peace.
Listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Find us on iTunes, Facebook, and on Instagram. Nothing's Off the Table is a MadSiss Productions podcast.